Hi everyone, welcome to Keeping It Real with E. Today is a beautiful October the 29th, and thank you for joining me. And as if you're joining me for the first time, or even if you're not, I'd like to give the reminder that the whole reason why I video journal is to let everyone know, and of course remind myself, God is real, He is personal, and He is powerful, and He's crazy about us, and He loves us, and even in the midst of great um, turmoil and tragedy and loss and pain, God is there, and this is why I journal, is to share all of these things. And so the beginning of my journals, I think I'm on journal entry 11, or maybe this is 12 today, I'm not sure, um, is all has all been about my mother's journey and my journey with my mother, and my part of my family's journey with my mother when she was diagnosed with glioblastoma, terminal brain cancer. And so the last entry that I gave was about the last two individuals that my mother spoke to, um, were the two men in her life that hurt her the most. And why that was so powerful was because she was free to go, and she had restoration in those conversations. And so it was just so poignant and just so powerful for her. And so in any event, that was on a Tuesday, January the 22nd of 2019. And she slipped into a deep, that underground sleep. And sorry, so if any of you guys follow me, I have two cats, and one of them tends to be extremely obnoxious and likes to pick fights with his sister. So sorry about the background noise. Moving forward. So in my heart of hearts, I thought there's just no way she's going to make it through the weekend. I mean, but she kept surprising us. She'd go 4 or 5 days with no food, no fluids, no medication at all, and then she would wake up and would request water or request, peaches or applesauce. She would speak briefly and smile, and then she would fade back out. So, but this time it felt different. It really felt different, and I thought, okay, what is going to be next, and what is this going to look like? So that Thursday, that was the Tuesday, the 22nd, Wednesday, Thursday, no change. And on Thursday, her body started to look different. Her breathing stayed the same, but um, she just didn't look there. But she was, still there because she was warm. And so Friday the 25th came, and I got my daughter to school, and rushed to be by my mom's side. And I didn't know if she was going to make it through the weekend. So anyway, I spent that morning with her. I had a few projects that I needed to do. And then I received a phone call. It was mid-afternoon, and I received a phone call from a friend of mine. She happens to also be our insurance agent. Now, we're friends, but we're not like daily talking or even weekly talking. It's just kind of sporadic. And when we do speak, it's always catching up, and then, that kind of thing. And so when my phone rang and I saw her name, Jennifer, I thought, oh, I just can't talk right now. And, because I thought it might have been about insurance or something. And so I let it go to voicemail. And of course, I've been really deep in my own space. And her voicemail says, E, it's Jennifer. I don't know what's going on exactly, but if you need me for anything, if you need me, you're so strong on my heart right now. If you need me for anything, call me. I'm here for you. And the minute I heard her voice, I knew instantly, like God was saying, you need help. You can't carry everything on your own. You do have help, but you need her today. And she's calling you for a reason. And so I was thinking in my mind, how am I going to get in car line, get my daughter, my husband's golfing, and go back to be with my mom. And I didn't want my daughter to see my mom in this condition because she was getting gray. And I mean, anyway. And so, but I didn't hide things from my daughter either. I mean, she knew Nani wasn't Nani, and she'd seen her decline, of course, and I have a realistic view of our physical death here, and I think that that's healthy for our children with with balance to have some of that. But in any event, so I called Jennifer right back, and I said, Jennifer, I do need you. I do need you. And what's so amazing is that Jennifer only lived the next subdivision over from my mom's living facility. I said, I need for you to stand for me. I need for you to stand in proxy for me and be me with my mom. I'm going to go get Sophia from school, but I need to get her to Chris, and I don't want her left alone. I don't want my mother left alone. I said, there's a caregiver there, but I don't know her. She's some girl who's on her phone, and she's just sitting on the sofa. She's not even by my mom's side or anything. And and up until that time, we'd had like really, really, really great caregivers, especially in the evening. But for some reason, they had just sent this random person. And I knew it was imperative that my mom was not going to be alone. And Jennifer said, I'll be right there. I'll be right there. So I did get my daughter from school and made it back to mom's place. And I just had my daughter sit in the living room. And I was with mom by mom's side. And Jen was there. And I met her downstairs. And she came running up. And I never forget, she had like a tape player or a recorder or something in her hand and a little notebook. And she says, I brought music to sing. And Jennifer has an amazing voice. Like, imagine like the Sisters of Heart and Janis Joplin all combined into one. She's just a powerhouse. And so I said, oh my gosh, that's incredible. I said, I just need you to be me, Jennifer, and don't leave her side. She said, I promise you will not leave your mother's side. So we ran upstairs, and Jen just sat down next to Mom and held her hand and said, Nana Karen, I'm here. And Jennifer just started singing, and the first song that she started singing was a John Denver song, Country Roads Take Me Home, and it was just beautiful. And then she started singing Amazing Grace, and at that time I had peace, and I was like, okay, I'm going to leave. And I took my daughter and found my husband, located him, and we had I was gone for probably 45 minutes or an hour, probably over an hour, more likely with the driving. And then that time my sister called me in a panic, and she says, Mom's gone, Mom's gone. I said, what do you mean? And she says, she just came to me like I just saw her, like a vision in my house. She just looked beautiful and radiant. She had her long wavy brown hair, and she just was glowing, and Mom is gone. And I said, don't, just stop, you're being hysterical. And I said, Jennifer Bach is with her right now singing. I said, I'm headed right back over there. And so when I got there, Jennifer was singing another song to her. Oh, she was singing, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Well, my mom's cat's name is Lucy. Now, my mom is a hippie, okay? Like, my mom is a late 50s baby, or mid 50s baby, but my mom, and anyone who knows her, not only was she an amazing classical pianist, but my mom was a free spirit. And so when I walked in, Jennifer singing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which was so amazing. And because it was just perfect of that era, but also my mom's cat's name is Lucy. And I don't even know if, I'm sure Jennifer must have known that. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. I just remember walking in like, and I could just tell. And Jennifer was just over my mom, just singing this calm, beautiful, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and all the rest of it. And then I came over on the other side of the bed and sang part of the song that I knew. And then what's so amazing is she started singing Elton John, and I grew up with Elton John. My mom always played the album when he had the white hat and he was on the piano, and I'm a 1971 baby, and so I grew up listening to albums, but especially Elton John, Crocodile Rock and Benny and the Jets, and you name it. So Jennifer began singing This Is Your Song. And stop. And so I got to sing that with my mom. So sorry. And it was just really cool. So Jennifer's on the one side, and I'm on the other side. And of course, I know the song by heart. And so I'm singing it with her, and I just kept telling Mom, I love you, and it's okay, it's okay. And Jennifer was right there, and I went and I got some syringes. I didn't know what to do because her breathing was changing, and I just didn't want her to be in pain. And she hadn't had any pain medication, and I don't know, she just refused it. Even in a deep sleep, when we would try to give it to her, she would do her lips like that, and she refused. And I didn't want her to be in pain, but she wasn't making any sounds, but her breathing was changing. And I said, Jennifer, don't go anywhere. I need to call my hospice nurse and tell her she needs to get here. And I called my adopted brother and his wife, John and Lene, and I said, I need you guys to get over here. And by this time, it's like late in the afternoon. It's like 6-7 o'clock and our early evening. And Jennifer had been there for quite some time by this time. And so, in any event, Jennifer ended up leaving. I gave her a hug and a kiss and told her I loved her and thank you for being me when I couldn't be there. And so I was with my mom's side, and the hospice nurse arrived about the same time that John and Lene did. And John and Lene live an easy hour away or a little bit longer. And how they got there in record time on a Friday in Houston traffic is beyond me. They must have had angel wings in their car. So in any event, they get there, and I just said, thank you, oh my gosh. And I said, I just don't think she's going to make it through the night. And so sure enough, her feet were cold and her legs were cool. And and so I was with her, and I just was talking to her and, letting her know it was fine. Sorry. And that we were going to be okay. And and I kept thinking about my sister, she had called. And and so Lene and John were praying, and Lene was having some scripture over her, and the hospice nurse, we kept feeling her, and you could actually feel, I don't know for anyone who's ever been with someone who's actually in the process of transitioning and their body's dying, because they are gone. Her spirit was gone. And with your body slowly gets cold and get gray, and they're gone. I mean, they're just a shell. And I was holding on to her, but she was gone. I couldn't feel her like I had earlier. And anyway, it was pretty amazing. So I remember saying, Mom, we did it. We did it together. All of us, we all did it together with you. And you had it your way. And so it was pretty amazing. And I want to be able, please forgive my tears. I just can't help it. And so so in any event, a few weeks prior to that, one of my girlfriends, Lori had lost both of her parents. They lived on the East Coast, like within a month of each other. They were elderly and been very, very ill. And her father passed first, and then her mother passed. And I had happened to see Lori in a Whole Foods parking lot randomly after school drop-off. And I hadn't seen her since she had been back from the East Coast. We were talking, and she talked about how she had donated some of her mother's tissue for research, and I can't, it escapes me right now what she had. I'm embarrassed, I can't remember right now, and when she said that, it just hit me real quick, and I was like, I have to do that for my mom. I have to do that because this is not going to go to waste. This glioblastoma and everything my mom suffered and went through is not going to be for nothing, and we have to do something with this. And so I had called Dr. Shedden. Peter led me to the right people, and there's a whole GBN research in the Medical Center of Houston, and I got to the right people, and I got the right forms just a few weeks prior to the 25th of January, and so it was amazing. And so I had all the arrangements made. So my brother Brian came up to the apartment, and the funeral home came, and they draped her, and I had this sense of release at the same time, like it was like it is finished, it's done, but yet overwhelmed as well. And so, or like we did it. That was more like, it was like, Mom, we did it, we did it together. And not just me and her, but everybody did it. We all did it. And so the funeral home took her, and they had instructions to take her to the special research center down, cancer research center down in the medical center. And they processed her. Took a few weeks before my mom was finally cremated. And so she wanted to be cremated. I know a lot of believers, if you're a Christian and you think, oh, that's not right, you shouldn't do that. Well, there's hundreds of thousands, millions of believers throughout the centuries who were martyred, who were burned to death, who died in war or shipwrecks or fires. God knows our hearts, and He knows where we stand with Him. And so, our body, it's ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and anyway. And so my mom, she just didn't want to be put in a coffin. She didn't want her body in a coffin. We're like, Mom, I promise you, your body's won't be in a coffin. And so anyway, so that was really special. So the evening that Mom passed on, was extra special because of the blessing. And my friend Jennifer listened, and she reached out, and I'm glad that I followed through and listened, because I did need her. And so amazing, because it was just like frequently everywhere I turned, even in the grocery store, I would hear a Elton John song. And subsequently, every time I hear it, it just brings back, and I hear it all the time. So, which is pretty cool. And so let's see, where am I on my time? Oh, I'm 17 minutes in. Let me wrap this up. So the next morning, so I came to bed, I was exhausted. And by the, we were making all the phone calls to family that, that mom had expired on. And so I got home and I was just exhausted. And the next morning I got up and I was here in my kitchen, and I felt something staring at me. And I looked over to that window, and I have a dining room table outside. And there was a red cardinal staring. Hi, Callie Rose. This is my other kitty, my sweet girl. A cardinal putting her beak or his beak, it was a male cardinal, red cardinal, in water and staring at me, and I just froze. And in the 5 years we'd lived here, I'd not had a cardinal come to I'm a nature girl. I would know. No, this cardinal got there and was staring at me, and I was just like, oh my God, where's my phone? So I grabbed the pictures, and I told my husband I need to go to Mom's. I need to care for Lucy, and I just need to be still. I just need to be there. So I got to Mom's place, to the Rosewood building, and I knocked on my mom's neighbor's door, and her name is Joanne. And now Joanne had a stroke, and so her speech was very scattery, but she had a heart of gold, and she loved Mom. And she and Mom used to go to the happy hours down in the senior activity building when Mom could. And anyway, I knocked on the door, and I told, hey, Mom, died last night, and I just didn't want you to be surprised. I need for you to know. And so she says, oh, no. And I said, oh, it's okay, Joanne. It was okay. She was ready, and she was not in any pain, and there was no struggle. It was just seamless. And I said, I'm going to go next door and just be alone for a while. So I sat down. I got my mom's place, and just felt that heaviness and the oppression. And I remember I looked at all the syringes, and they were labeled, and the bottles and the timelines, and I just took them all, and I just chunked them in a bag, and I was just like, no more. And so I sat down. So sorry, hold on, I'll be okay. So I sat down on the floor with my back against the sofa. My ankles were crossed, and Lucy comes out, and this cat has just been under so much strain and stress. And and was not fun to be around. And she came over and just started nuzzling my legs and wanted affection. And she knew, obviously, that mom was gone. And she was so affectionate, and it took me by surprise. Then I hear a knock, knock, knock on the door, and in comes Joanne with a bottle of Prosecco and 2 little champagne glasses. I kid you not. And I bust out laughing and go, "What are you doing?" And she says, "We have to celebrate." And I'm not making fun of her. It's just I just really want to get across how Joanne was. She was saying, "We have to celebrate. We have to celebrate your mom. And we have to celebrate that she's no longer here suffering. And we're rejoicing with your mom. So we're going to have champagne." Oh my gosh, this was just, you just couldn't even. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it was just amazing. It was amazing. And when I had, and since that time, my mom's presence was so strong there. And I know to be absent here is to be present with the Lord. And I know that because she had already given us glimpses of that week prior. So don't forget that week prior, how she had said, "I've been singing and he has me and I have him and it's wonderful. And there's so much to do and I have to go." And the peace in her face, just there was no fear, there was nothing. And so she was already there, but yet her presence was still everywhere, and it was powerful. And so I just want to leave my journal today. It's a little bit longer than normal. The glory of the transitioning of my mother's passing from this life into eternity, into the next life. And being in the presence of God and what that looks like, because like I said before, our souls and our spirits are eternal. Our flesh is just temporary. It just houses, who we are. And that's why they say the eyes are the window, to the soul. And so, so in any event, like I always say, may the Lord bless you. May he keep you. May his face shine upon you in graciousness and peace. I'm so sorry. I'm all flustered today. But, he stands behind us. He stands beside us, and he goes before us. And I pray that he make all of our crooked paths straight, and I know that he does because he has for me. And so God bless always, and thank you for joining me today. And I can't wait to video journal more and just share other wonderful God things. Okay, God bless. Take care. Goodbye.